Orzala Nemat. She's a research associate at the School of Oriental and African Studies in the UK, SOAS, and she's joining us from there now. Orzala Nemat, thank you very much for being with us here on TRT World. Now, first up, from what you've been able to see and read in the past few days, what's your assessment of where we are with the fight in Afghanistan? Is Kabul on the verge of falling?
Unfortunately, the latest developments, before talking or sharing the same kind of reflections everyone else is sharing with you about which province is falling after which one, it's important to highlight the depth of a humanitarian disaster or crisis that we are facing with. The latest wave of conflict in Afghanistan have resulted, according to UN humanitarian organization, to over 390,000 people's displacement all over Afghanistan. So people running away from violence, from terror. And unfortunately, the Taliban so far have not shown anything but summary executions, shooting people who are surrendering to them. And in this way, basically terrifying everyone who are running away and are living in open air, very sort of a basic zero condition, basically. In places they're supposed to be safer, like Kabul, which anyway is not safer. Last week we had an explosion in Kabul itself, and there are daily incidents in Kabul as well happening, or in the surroundings of Kabul. So overall situation in terms of the advancements from one side or the resistance from the other side, either has their own interpretation of the two terms I'm using, is not really giving us the depth of the sorrows, the depth of the grief that the majority of very destitute and poor Afghans are experiencing. So there are also, as we speak, there are also talks about local deals of sometimes safe passage or, basically surrendering or just running away, which tells us a story about this, that in the case of Afghanistan over the past history, the top leadership always succeed to run away. It's the people who pay the price. And unfortunately, that is not really, it's an unfortunate fact that it is not drawing enough international attention. A few days ago, one of my friends was talking through your channel, basically calling on the world and asking them to shame on the world, really, for keeping silent on Afghanistan. I think part of this shame is also shared by our own political leadership, that they have failed and they are equally responsible to reaching us to this point. And this political leadership across parties, across sides to conflict, they all has a hand in all the killings that are happening, all the injuries and all the displacements and the disasters that we are talking about.
I think you're referring to Miss Mahbouba Seraj. I was the one who was interviewing her that day when she did call shame on the US and the entire world. And I do want to pick you up then on what you think the international community should do at this point. I mean, it does feel to me as if daily, hourly, cities are falling. The international community seems to be waiting for what? For Kabul to be under siege, for Kabul to be taken? Where is this going to get to before someone does something?
Precisely. I think there is a huge lack of responsibility in terms of basic principles of responsibility by all parties, because what is Kabul? 6 million people, fine, but the entire population of Afghanistan is not residing in Kabul. We are estimated to be a 30 plus million population, and only 6 million live in Kabul. So what is the meaning of falling Kabul or not falling? As we speak, Herat, there are news about Herat to be taken over by Taliban. You shared the news about Kandahar, and there are news about Helmand as well. There is resistance from the Afghan National Security Forces, but the security forces are not lacking much equipment. They lack the morale, and the morale is the part that the international community is playing. The Taliban are winning not because the other side resistance is weak, because they don't have anything else. It's because the Taliban have received that morale by formal recognition of all countries, whether international countries or regional actors that were anyway on the side of the Taliban, historically speaking. Like if Pakistan is speaking for Taliban, it's not surprising. They've been doing that for forever, since the establishment of Taliban in the 1940s. It's the problem is coming with the international community giving a group that used terror and killings and suicide bombings as a weapon to basically rule Now they get the recognition. If I were the Taliban, I would be very confident. As you can see, they just can win without any problem, because they feel like the world will listen to them, and they feel like they will have the full leverage of using terror to reach their goals. And now my call even on the Taliban is extending that, okay, you deal with the leadership, with the top leadership, that's a separate thing, but please have mercy on people of Afghanistan. Have mercy on women and children. They are on open streets. They are insecure in the open airs everywhere because of your invasions, because of your, fightings in, horrible kind of summary executions that you do to people who surrender to you, you tell them. I think this is the time that we see, if there is some element of humanity involved in this whole merciless war that we are seeing at this point.
Yeah, well, Orzala Nemat, I do hope your plea and call for some kind of humanity will be heard. I appreciate your time. I have to leave it there, but thank you very much for being with us on TRT World.